Okay, let's continue. Current events 2020. The gathering of the dispersed of Israel and the great surprise of 2025. Middle East. The explosions in Lebanon, around 200 people are killed, including the General Secretary of the Kateb political party, Nassar Najarian, and around 6,000 wounded, including the daughter and wife of Lebanese Prime Minister Hassan Diab. It is obvious that the cause of these explosions is the terrorist group Hezbollah. Lebanon President Michel Aoun said he is open to Israel peace talks following allegations his ally Hezbollah had stored weapons at Beirut port. In my humble opinion, I don't believe that this treaty will be achieved during his government, but even if it will be, he must be succeeded by a candidate from the Kateb party in the next elections. As it is a parliamentary system, they must change the current parliament, which is very pro-Hezbollah. The Israel-United Arab Emirates Normalization Agreement, officially the Abraham Accords Peace Agreement, Treaty of Peace, diplomatic relations, and full normalization between the United Arab Emirates and the State of Israel, was initially agreed to in a joint statement by the United States, Israel, and the United Arab Emirates on August 13, 2020, officially referred to as the Abraham Accords. The United Arab Emirates thus became the third Arab country after Egypt and Jordan to agree to formally normalize its relationship with Israel, as well as the first Persian Gulf country to do so. Concurrently, Israel agreed to suspend plans for annexing parts of the West Bank. The agreement normalized what had long been informal but robust voting relations between the two countries. The agreement was signed at the White House on September 15, 2020, and will be brought to the Israeli cabinet and Knesset for ratification before it takes effect. Here we conclude the first part of the message that showed us how the two plans of God and Satan have developed from 1905 to the present. Now I invite you to the second part of the message, which is when the free world prepares for the coming of heaven and the last confrontation with the axis of evil. The Lord God, which gathered the outcasts of Israel. True Father, welcoming Sanhab Shib Son Il, the date of the victory of the number 10, combining two halves, from 2015 to 2020 and from 2020 to 2025, signifies that God now owns the days, the months, and the 4 seasons. He is the owner and the king of love. He is the owner and the king of true parents. On the basis of his kingship on this earth and the unity of heaven and earth, God is the owner of all. With God as your owner, you can be a king of love. With God as your owner, you can be a king of true parents. With God as your owner, you can be a king of true teachers. We are ushering in the era of the king of true kings. Hence, we need to completely forget about what ethnic group we came from and the background tradition by which we lived. Please understand that we are standing at the apocalyptic turning point based on a totally revolutionary foundation. On this foundation, we can achieve God's perfection, true parents' perfection, and the perfection of the parents of heaven, earth, and humankind. And this can settle on earth. We have to proceed toward the world of love's eternal sovereignty, such as in the new heaven and new earth in the new era, the era after the coming of heaven. You can find this in the year 2004. My father said that in the year 2004, June 30. And I read again the main part. Welcoming Sanhab Shib Son Il, the date of the victory of the number 10, combining two halves, from 2015 to 2020 and from 2020 to 2025, signifies that God now owns the days, the months, and the 4 seasons. God is the owner of all. We are ushering in the era of the King of true kings. Please understand that we are standing at the apocalyptic turning point based on a totally revolutionary foundation. such as the new heaven and new earth in the new era, the era after the coming of heaven. And we can read in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 1, King James Version. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. Remember when I mentioned that if we help Donald Trump through the Washington Times, many blessings will begin to come down from heaven. Once he recognizes the movement, we will make the foundation for Hyunjin President Moon to become president of South Korea, a Japanese member to become the Prime Minister of Japan, and Hyunjin Shan Moon to become president of the US, and a German member to become the Chancellor of Germany. As promised, I will support these predictions with True Father's words, the Bible, and other prophets. True Father, this is the liberation of the spirit world and physical world. Your families are the fourth Adam. This is the time period in which we have to secure 12 representatives of the tribes. If we restore 4 nations and expand these to 12, this world can be unified. Then all the pain of the historical ages, past, present, and future, will be liberated. This is truly liberation. Do you understand? Father say that in God's fatherland, May in the year 2000. And I read again the main part. If we restore 4 nations and expand these to 12, this world can be unified. In the book of Revelation, chapter 5, verse 11, King James Version. And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels, round about the throne, and the beasts, and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands. Angels equals believers, saints, and prophets of all religions. The beasts, nations are kingdoms, but restored nations, with their respective presidents or leaders. And the elders, the wise men, elder brothers, educators, theologians, philosophers, etc. And the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands, all the inhabitants of these restored nations. In the book of Daniel, King James Version, verses 2 and 3, Daniel spake and said, I saw it in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. It's referring to these 4 nations, South Korea, Japan, USA, and Germany, before being restored, because the great sea represents the fallen world. The 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. This refers to the saints and patriots of these 4 nations who are stirring up the globalists and the establishment. I saw in my vision by night. It means that it is in a dark time, and in turn this means ignorance, confusion, fear, etc. in the last days. And in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, King James Version, verses 17 and 18. These great beasts which are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Verse 17 means they are the current 4 presidents, leaders of these 4 nations. And the 18 means the saints of the Most High, the Messiah, who are his 2 sons and 2 members who are going to replace the 4 current leaders. True Father, what I have been doing in America until this time concerns the restoration of the Adam nation, the Eve nation, followed by the Cain and Abel nations. Since Adam fell, this must be restored through indemnity on the global and national level. Korea is the Adam nation, Japan the Eve nation, and America is the position of Abel. the able nation appeared in order to restore the right of the eldest son and restore sovereignty. Next, Germany used to be the Cain nation on Satan's side. But as Japan came to stand in the position of Eve, Germany became the Cain nation on God's side. These four countries must establish the tradition of one nation on the global stage. The stage is represented by America. If say that in the Cheongsong-gyeon, the original Cheongsong-gyeon, in the year 1986, February 22nd. And I read again the main part. These four countries must establish the tradition of one nation on the global stage. That stage is represented by America. Because once America establishes that tradition, many nations will follow. St. Malachy, the Archbishop of Armagh, the Irish bishop. Anyway, Ireland will suffer English oppression for a week of centuries, 700 years, but will preserve her fidelity to God and His church. At the end of that time, she will be delivered, and the English in turn must suffer severe chastisement. Ireland, however, will be instrumental in bringing back the English to the unity of faith. St. Malachy said that in Armagh, the year 1123. Ireland is equals USA. Why? Because many Americans have Irish roots. They, American Christians, preserve their fidelity to God and His church. And this part that says she will be delivered, I believe it's about the American independence of England that happened 653 years, almost 700 years after this prophecy. Ireland, however, will be instrumental in bringing back the English to the unity of faith. I believe that once Hyunjin Shanmun becomes president of the US, England will follow and all the Commonwealth nations will follow. Maybe the US will return to the Commonwealth nations and be the head of the British Kingdom. But who knows? Qualifications to become president of South Korea. Since 1981, the president has been barred from re-election. The president must be a South Korean citizen, at least 40 years old, who has lived in South Korea for 5 years. Hyunjin President Moon must be a South Korean citizen. He was born in Seoul, South Korea. Check 1. Must be at least 40 years old. He was born on May 25th, 1969. He is 51 years old. Check 2. Someone who has lived in South Korea for 5 years. He moved to the United States when he was 4 years old, but he goes back and forth to Korea very often and lately more because his main goal is the unification of the two Koreas. Actually, if he becomes president, he will achieve that goal. Election date. It must be 2 months before the current president, Moon Jae-in, ends his term, and he ends on May 10, 2022. So the elections must be in late February or early March. Good luck, Hyunjin. True Father, you need to know that after 40 years, the Republican Party triumphed in the United States thanks to the influence of Reverend Moon. Perhaps you are unaware of these facts, but you should know that if any nation precedes the United States in receiving an absolute embracing Reverend Moon, that nation will become the first nation in the world. Father say that in the True Family and I, South America address given in 16 countries, June 1995 to July 1995. And I read again the main part. But you should know that if any nation precedes the United States in receiving an absolutely embracing Reverend Moon, that nation will become the first nation in the world. And that nation will be South Korea. Qualifications to become Prime Minister of Japan. Term length, 4 years or fewer. Renewable, indefinitely. Must be a member of either house of the Diet. This implies a minimum age of 25 and a Japanese nationality requirement. Must be a civilian. This excludes serving members of the Japan Self-Defense Forces. Former military persons may be appointed Prime Minister, Yasuhiro Nakasone being one example. On 28 August 2020, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe announced his intention to resign due to his deteriorating health. Therefore, the Prime Minister who will replace Shinzo Abe cannot be the unificationist, but any other candidate. However, since the term is indefinite, the unificationists must be prepared to take office between June 2022 and November 2024. Good luck, brother or sister. Qualifications to become President of the U.S. The President must be a natural-born citizen of the United States, be at least 35 years old, have been resident of the United States for 14 years. Hyunjin Shanmun. The President must be a natural-born citizen of the United States. He was born in Tarrytown, New York. Check 1. The President must be at least 35 years old. He was born on September 26, 1979. He is 41 years old. Check 2. Have been a resident of the United States for 14 years. He has surely been here, all that and even more. Election Day, November 5, 2024. Good luck, Hyunjin. Qualifications to become the Chancellor of Germany. Anyone has to be eligible to the Bundestag, i.e. be at least 18 years old, be a German citizen, whether by birth or by naturalization, not have been deprived of the franchise by criminal sentence. That is the case for very few offenses. Not have a court-appointed custodian for all areas of law. This is the case for severely mentally handicapped people, and not be confined to a psychiatric hospital by court order. No one has to be a member of the Bundestag. Of the 8 chancellors to date, one Gord Kissinger was not a member. Since Germany is the Kane-type nation on God's side, it cannot be restored until the Abel-type nation is restored first. Therefore, the elections of September 25, 2022, no member will be elected. Election day, September 27, 2026. Good luck, brother or sister. Remember when I told you I had a surprise for you in 2025? Here's the surprise. 2025. Kyok Am Yurok. In the year Shinyu, 1992 or 1983, war will break out in the Middle East. In the year Sulhe, 1994 or 1995, many will lose their lives. In the year Yachuk, 1996 or 1997, confusion will dominate the world and it becomes difficult to predict the future. In the year Inmyo, 1998 or 1999, the future can be predicted. In the year Jinsa, 2000 or 2001, the Messiah, the Holy Man, will appear. In the year Omi, 2002 or 2003, every house will be full of joy. Note, the above time predictions can be moved forward 24 years. The completed Testament age and the Ideal Kingdom. Book 6, Chapter 2, Interpreter Samoku. And I read again the main part. In the year Jinsa, 2024 or 2025, the Messiah, the Holy Man, will appear. Kyok Am Yurok. Somewhere in the world you will find that man. He is the Holy Man, the Messiah. Look at the world justly. He will come 2000 or 2001 or 2024 to 2025 and unify the world. Those who are blinded by the desire for gold cannot escape. Look at the secret message, divine principle, and Father's words. Sent to South Korea. Everything is hidden in that secret message. The completed Testament age and Ideal Kingdom, Book 6, Chapter 2, Interpreted Samoku. And I read again the main part. Somewhere in the world you will find that man. He is the Holy Man, the Messiah. Look at the world justly. He will come in 2000 or 2001 or 2024 or 2025 and unify the world. Kyok Am Yurok. The one who is to come will establish a foundation in the early part of his life. In his middle years, he will meet a pre-arranged spouse and marry again. And in his later years, 2000 or 2001 or 2024, 2025, he will accomplish the will of God and his couple will rejoice together. The Complete Testament Age and the Ideal Kingdom. Book 6, Chapter 2, Interpreter Salmoku. And I read again the main part. In his later years, 2000 or 2001 or 2024 or 2025, he will accomplish the will of God and his couple will rejoice together. Kyok Am Yurok. The people of the world will say that money comes first and is most important, but this is the most unenlightened thing to say, even for the strongest man on earth. After creating a heavenly way to bring all the various fortunes of the world into one, he will call all of humankind and save them in the years 2000 or 2001 or the years 2024 and 2025. The Completed Testament Age and the Ideal Kingdom. Book 6, Chapter 2, Interpreter Salmoku. And I read again the main part. He will call all of humankind and save them in the years 2000 or 2001 or the years 2024 to 2025. I don't want to give many explanations, but the prophecies are not referring to True Father. Between 2000 or 2001, True Father was already well known, and obviously for 2024 to 2025, it would be impossible. If not True Father, then who is? True Father, now is not a time when Jesus is opposed. Now that the age has come when the entire Korea will praise Reverend Moon's name, from the standpoint of global history, you should fulfill the mission of tribal Messiah. Now your tribes, including far distant relatives, will be restored at once. Restoring 120 families in 6 months is not a problem. We are in the position of elder brother. The whole heaven and earth will see the dawn. A grandfather will become a grandchild, and a father will become a son. It is as when somebody becomes a king, his grandparents and parents have to serve him. Messiah means kingship, right? The Complete Testament Age and the Ideal Kingdom. Book 3, Chapter 4, page 1, I think so. Or paragraph 1. And I read again the main part. A grandfather will become a grandchild, and a father will become a son. It is as when somebody becomes a king, his grandparents and parents have to serve him. Messiah means kingship, right? True Father, now Cain has been subjugated and the eldership restored with regard to the 3 generations, grandparents, parents, and elder brother. Hence, a grandchild will be attended as an ancestor at the levels of the eldersonship, parentship, and kinship. Messiah. As this great upheaval and 180-degree turn occurs, in which the child is attended as a parent and the younger brother is attended as elder brother, hell also turns around to the heavenly direction. You should know this. In the Completed Testament Age and the Ideal Kingdom. Book 3, Chapter 4, paragraph 2 or page 2. Either one. And I read again the main part. Grandparents, parents, and elder brother. Hence, a grandchild will be attended as an ancestor at the levels of eldership, parentship, and kinship. Equals Messiah. That means Messiah. True Father, then through my grandchild, God's grandchild can come into existence. From this 3rd generation, 10,000 future generations become the fruit, and as they spread out, religions become unnecessary, and all people are able to enter heaven. Father say that in August 6, in the year 2000. In the same way that God restored a nation of servants, angels, with Abraham's grandson Israel equals Jacob. The 3 generations are Abel, Noah, and Abraham. And the 3 generations in Abraham's family is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God will restore the channel group with true father's grandchild. Adam, Jesus, Adam, Jesus Christ, true father, and the three generations of true father is true father, child, and grandchild. And on the satanic side as well, the one who is leading in North Korea is Kim Jong-un, the grandson of Kim Il-sung. Therefore, it would be Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, and Kim Jong-un, three generations. True father in the Unification Church, I am called father. In communist North Korea, Satan is trying to do the same thing. There, Kim Il-sung is called father now, but there cannot be two fathers. God's will, fathers say that in God's will and the world. Now let's suppose that true father's grandchild says the same thing. True father's grandchild. In the fourth Israel, I am called father. In communist North Korea, Satan is trying to do the same thing. There, Kim Jong-un is called father. Called father now, but there cannot be two fathers. God's will and the world. And in the book of Luke, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 18, verse 8, King James Version says, I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man, true Father, comes, shall he find faith on the earth? And in the book of Revelation, chapter 14, verse 14, King James Version, and I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, true Father's grandchild, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. If you realize that the passage of the Gospel according to St. Luke speaks of a misunderstood and rejected Messiah, and in the book of Revelations it speaks of an accepted and victorious Messiah. Let's not lie to ourselves. True Father was rejected by Christianity in the same way that Jesus Christ was rejected by Judaism. And yes, they are perfect and wonderful. All of us are very grateful to them and we love them so much. But sadly, things turn out that way, and that's how restoration works. Remember when I told you that there is another goal that God achieved through Obama, but I was going to mention later? Here it is, Bohi Park. To gain perspective on Reverend Moon's rally, let's look at the history of religious rallies in Washington. There were two great religious rallies held prior to 1976. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., an African American, held one of these, a demonstration demanding civil rights for African Americans. Reverend Billy Graham, a white man, held the other, a patriotic rally calling for a victorious conclusion to the Vietnam War. Reverend Moon, who is neither black nor white, but of the yellow race, held the third. The fact that Reverend Moon's rally was the most successful of the three helps us understand even more deeply that the hand of God is behind Reverend Moon's work. Father Bohi Park said that in Messiah, My Testimony to Reverend Samuel Moon, chapter 11. And in the Bible, the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 11, King James Version, and when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. Barack Obama is equal Ben Carson from 2009 to 2016 equals Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. equals Balthazar frankincense. Donald Trump 2017 to 2024 Reverend Billy Graham Melcher gold. Hyunjin Shan Moon 2025 to 2032 Bohi Park equals Casper Mare. True Father's grandchild equals Father Moon, the young child baby Jesus. Why Ben Carson? We know from the divine principle that for the foundation to receive the Messiah and for any other victory, two foundations are needed. foundation of faith and substance. Donald Trump is the current able chosen by God. His foundation of faith was to run for president and have faith that he was going to win. The original foundation of substance was that Obama in King's position should have supported his candidacy. Obviously, Obama was invaded by Satan and rather became an obstacle. This is why Ben Carson is a replacement for Obama, because he's as smart as Obama and of the same race. Therefore, he indemnified Obama's position, endorsing Donald Trump with humility. What is the meaning of the gifts? Frankincense represents the king's nobility, his lineage, his spirit, and wisdom. Gold, the king's wealth, both physical and spiritual. Myrrh, his kingdom. Why? Because in the times of the pharaohs in Egypt, when they died, they were embalmed with myrrh, and their entire kingdom, with slaves and wealth, they were buried with the pharaoh because they believed they were going to another world with all that. Obviously, this was a Satan's deception, but we must understand that the lie is a distorted truth, and this interprets the death of the evil world and the beginning of the substantial channel good. Thank you very much. God bless you, and see you at the next lecture. Adieu. Bye-bye.